My friend has a past with my boyfriend, and she won't shut up about it.
Hey, shut up.
Maybe just don't talk about that.
It's so easy to just shut up about it.
Me, 27 female, and my partner, 31 male, of almost 3 years have a mutual close friend who was the one who introduced us, who is also obsessed with telling everyone how close they are and is obsessed about their once close relationship. It's gotten to the point where me and my other half are discussing and planning on getting engaged soon, and I don't want this girl to keep living in the past about their friendship. He's chosen me as his best friend now, and she should respect that as my friend. By the way, this comes from user nervousad4918 on the r/OKstorytime subreddit. So, we'll call this friend Alice. Alice has known my other half since they were about 16 and 17 years old. She's 3 years older than me. When they first hung out, my other half hadn't had previous female friends, and they once tried it on with one another and shared a peck on the lips. They realized they were only supposed to stay friends and stayed platonic since.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. You tried and you realized that wasn't a spark.
From his point of view, they were once close, but not anymore. He's the kind of guy who, because he's close to his sister, shares lots of close platonic friendships with girls. Alice, however, has had many boyfriends and no male friends other than my other half, who we'll call Jaden. She also only has a sister. She constantly tells everyone, and I mean everyone, all of our friends, strangers, our university lecturers, and work colleagues about how close they are.
That's really weird.
Especially given they didn't date. They just were like, maybe we'll kiss, and they kissed once, and then they were like, no, I guess not.
I want to know the timeline. Was it prior to them kissing? Was she about that? I don't know. Oh, Jade and I are best friends, but then they kissed, or did it? Was it after the kiss?
Theory. The story she's getting from her husband is not the full story, because that makes zero sense to me. That someone could be that infatuated with somebody and had never really had even an actual romantic relationship with them.
Maybe it could be. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
She doesn't have any male friends.
We are complicated apes. She would tell people things like how he'd buy her period pads. He would for any female friend. Talk on the phone for hours. She's famously a talker, and you cannot shut her up. She's always the center of attention. That they would cuddle. Now, this is a weird one. He says, sure, he would hug her occasionally, but no more than any of his male friends, etc. But she specifically uses the word cuddle to sound more than platonic. She says stuff like, every time he used to see me, he'd lick my face. This is another strange, out of context fantasy she makes up. He says he barely remembers, but he knows as a teenager he'd wind his mates up when they were intoxicated and lick them, male, female, etc.
Okay, that's a little odd, but at least he did it with everyone.
I mean,
consensually.
Teenagers do dumb stuff.
I have not heard of anyone licking people in the faces to show affection.
I have. But she has literally told people like our university tutors this information. She never says he did it to everyone. She exaggerates and makes it seem special to only her.
She's boring. She's a boring person. She has to be a boring person. I'm sorry.
She has
nothing going on in her life to literally tell everyone and to fluff it up.
Well, for some reason, she's just fully fixated and attached on this one guy.
It's both of those things. She's fixated on Jaden and their past, whatever that was.
Yeah, I don't know.
But she's also just bored that she can't move on, and she's telling literal strangers who do not care about this.
Literally people who are like,
she just wants attention.
That's great for you.
She just wants attention.
I guess that's cool or whatever. Stop talking to me.
She wants attention.
She makes it seem like their play fights as children were only special to them, even though he play fights with everyone. She recently told him she misses that they don't play fight anymore. He was like, well, we're in our 30s, Alice.
Dude.
Perfect response. He play fights with me instead, his best friend and future wife. She's told everyone of our mutual close friends multiple times that they once kissed.
She's so hung up on that, dude.
That
kiss must have been crazy.
This is scary behavior. It's so fixated that it's
I might want to get a restraining order.
Jade was flabbergasted when I told him she'd mentioned their kiss maybe on 10 different occasions. He had no idea she's so obsessed. She told me all her other boyfriends have had issues with Jaden except her current one.
I wonder why.
Wait, she has a boyfriend?
I wonder why, because you talk about kissing this dude 10 times a day with people who you don't even know.
Yeah. Why are you talking about this guy like that when you have a boyfriend? It's so weird. She's told everyone how they once joked to make a pact to get married if they were single at 30.
I'm running away from this girl.
I actually have a pact like that, but it's not at 30. It's 50 something.
I have a pact at 50 something too.
Yeah. But she's mentioned it so often, I think she's partly thought it was true. This will be how she introduces him to new people. We've just started a new course at university, and the girls were mentioning when they think they're getting engaged, including Alice to her boyfriend. And I said, oh, can I tell you guys something cute? Me and Jaden went looking for rings the other day in town. She immediately launches into telling these new girls about her and Jaden's close relationship. She never gives me a chance to introduce my boyfriend to the people because they've already heard about him through her. But for her boyfriend, she's been with for 3+ years.
Yo, that's weird. This is weird. I would bring this up. I don't know why no one has stopped her.
What?
Why is everyone letting her, like, especially OP and Jaden? Jaden should be the one to stop.
You need to press the issue.
Yeah, I would be very bothered if I heard this on repeat daily.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically like harassment.
It
is
is
a form of harassment.
Like, why
for
are
sure.
you talking about him so much? Like, your obsession with him is really weird.
And they're
go
lies.
Go be obsessed with your boyfriend of 3+ years.
Yeah, this is wild. But for her boyfriend, she's been with for 3+ years, she introduces him as her scientist boyfriend, who's a doctor and is the CEO of his own company. A big difference from my best friend, who's a boy who used to lick my face, and is dating OP. It comes across as disrespectful because people are always weirded out. So you've got like a trophy husband, or you've got a trophy boyfriend, and the real love of your life that you kissed once when you were 17 is getting married, and you don't know how to cope with it.
Seems like.
Comment and let me know if I hit the nail on the head with that in the comments. It comes across as disrespectful because people are always weirded out. Most of my family and friends agree that it seems like Alice basically acts like she wants to keep Jaden around forever as some kind of backup option. She's confused about things. She calls time they spend hanging out together, which is very rare anymore, Alice and Jaden time is what she calls it, as if it's some cutesy thing. Me and my male best friend, let's call him Tim, are so platonic there's absolutely no cutesy language in our friendship. She forever lives in a universe where they're like 20 years old again and close pals, but these days, he doesn't wish to hang out with her. He thinks they've naturally grown apart anyway, regardless of the fact that he's with me. He criticizes her actions a lot to me as they've grown into very different people. For example, he's a cop and she uses a lot of illegal substances and expresses very little interest in sustaining much of a friendship.
Then why doesn't he say that to her?
Yeah, that's the final piece of the puzzle here is why isn't Jaden taking more of an active role in making this stop?
Why isn't OP taking initiative? Obviously Jaden taking, like I said it earlier, but why is no one stopping her from doing this?
Just with like a direct, you don't even have to do it in person. Just reach out to her over through text or a phone call, whatever. But reach out to her and be like, hey, all this talk about us needs to stop.
Immediately.
Plain and simple. Don't make it any more complicated than that.
Yeah.
You need to stop saying these things that aren't true. Done.
Easy.
When we were first dating for about the first 6 months maybe, she'd say things to me that made me almost break up with him. She once told me that she found him attractive since he started working out and grown a beard. She told me she's always going to have love for him, and bear in mind, she's the kind of girl who always gets what she wants. Huge pretty privilege issue going on here, overconfident, etc. She used to say things like, we'd never work out, J and A, because he wants kids and I don't. And we wouldn't have worked out because he's unsure about marriage and I want to. So she's just like telling her friend like, yeah, you guys wouldn't work. Actually, we're perfect for each other. Like, you guys definitely wouldn't work. I used to say, well, surely there's 100 reasons you'd never date someone you also say is like a brother, right, Alice? But she never comes up with any. The thought of dating my male best mate makes me throw up a little in my mouth. And Tim would find that hilarious as a mutual thought. My other uni friends once addressed me and said they were confused with who's dating who because Alice seems to mention Jaden all the time. They had no idea her actual boyfriend even existed. Her own boyfriend even joked the other day about her constantly mentioning Jaden's name. Boyfriend, what are you doing?
I feel like everyone here is like, this is weird. Why does she keep bringing up Jaden? And no one's asking her, like everyone's saying it around her, but no one's bringing it up to her.
Nobody is pressing the issue here.
Yeah.
I never previously mentioned anything to her as I didn't want to upset the apple cart, but it's been 5 years of hearing her talk about him. And since we're about to start work together and on a new university course where she's already started mentioning him again, it's like the final straw that broke the camel's back. I'm sick of him being quote unquote hers. As his almost fiance, I should come first. She knew him a while ago, fair. I respect their past friendship, but he's not 17 anymore. He's almost 32.
17, 32. you, 55, 90, 100.
We don't care.
We don't care.
We just want you here in our stream when we go live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, on TikTok. Just tap our profile and you're in.
Hey, we might even be live right now.
It's true.
But we need to make sure we let Alice know, and hopefully Alice does know, to just leave Jaden's name out of her freaking mouth.
Yeah, I think it's clear that this is not a, at first maybe you brush it off, but if it's something that's been going on for multiple years and it's just gone completely unaddressed, it's like something needs to be said. If there are people in your environment, right, that are
questioning everything.
Well, this person, I assume, is like a friend to some extent.
Okay.
Or else she wouldn't be around her for 5 years and they're starting a university course.
Guess what?
So if you have problems with something your friend's doing, you have to let them know.
If you're friends with them, you could tell them. If you're strangers, the fact that she's telling strangers, it's nonsense.
There's something.
It's just everyone around her, including OP, is enabling it.
And if it's not a case where she's like actually secretly wants to be, steal your man, she should be like, oh, okay, well, I'll try my best to change the way I speak, because that's all it is.
No, I guarantee if you
she talks cutesy about him and says all this stuff and all that. If you have to speak it though.
But guess what?
Say it.
Guess what? If you bring it up now, it's 15 years. Yeah, 15 years or whatever of her just doing this over and over and over again. If you tell it to her right now, she's gonna be like, "No, what are you talking about?"
Nah, I mean, but you have to. This whole story, I think,
it
needs to be. I hope that the end of this story is Alice being pressed on this issue.
The fact that nobody has told her,
you need to change the way you talk.
I don't
about
understand
my almost fiance.
Yeah. Let's find out. I really need to find out because at this point, I don't think Alice is the bad guy particularly or the a-hole.
No, I don't think she's done anything egregiously wrong. But
she's just doing weird stuff and she just keeps talking about Jaden and no one is stopping her from talking about Jaden.
Yeah, it's just kind of cringy.
Yeah.
It's cringy and uncomfortable. Now, after this rant, I'm basically after advice. Me and my partner want to address this with her. He thinks her behavior is so weird and it's off-putting to him thinking of ever being mates with her again, which is tricky when we want to have a wedding. Me and Alice get along very well when Jaden is out of the question. We work in the same place in all of the same classes at university. I don't want to cause a huge upset, but how do I make her see that his behavior towards her has never been anything special and she needs to understand that? She's deluding herself that there's this special connection anymore. He calls other girls his best friend, girls who she can't stand. I, however, love them. They're lovely and never make it awkward. They have brothers and you can tell they know what platonic friendship is. So,
wow.
You ask, how do we talk to her about this? Well, I think the person who needs to talk about this is not you.
Jaden.
It's Jaden.
It's because it's only about Jaden.
I mean, it impacts both of you, but the root of the problem is that
Jaden, her
internalized dynamic with Jaden is not placed in reality. It sounds like.
Yep. It's just very obvious. And the fact that he's like, I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with this. This is, I'm just, the friendship is not even there. But she keeps talking about it like it is. Someone needs to stop. At least point it out to her like, hey, this is not okay.
And I don't even think you need to do a thing where it's like you blast her and say it's like, well, you were never special to him, because that's just going to make her get defensive. I think you got to put the kid gloves on and you got to be real gentle and, just let her know, hey, even though we did have a close friendship, right? That's in the past, and you're continuing, your nonstop bringing it up is putting a strain on us, and and some of the people around us get confused. It's just a weird.
It's uncomfortable. It makes everyone uncomfortable.
Yeah.
When you keep bringing it up 10 times a day.
So you very calmly, coolly explain that you're uncomfortable, and if she doesn't take that well, then that's not something it's not a person you even want to have in your life, because she's not respecting your boundaries.
I don't know. Again, this is definitely on Jaden. He should take initiative, especially with. I mean, I've repeated it so many times now. It's just do it.
Well, you know what? I think one thing we're forgetting here is that Jaden's not even really that close with her anymore. So maybe the best thing to do might be to go together. Maybe to have this conversation as a group.
I agree.
Maybe have Jaden take point on it, but just be there, since you're probably a better support for Alice. If your goal is to not have a big fallout here, right? You're gonna want to be able to, let her down gently as much as you can. So seeing as Jaden's not really a friend with her, you might want to be there to help out. But that's my advice, and that's also the end of this story.
Oh wow.
And the end of this episode.
Oh wow.
So if you love us, make sure you subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.